Did you know that more actors died during the production of classic Hollywood films than in actual warfare during the same period? While studios painted glamorous pictures of movie magic, behind the cameras lurked a darker reality. Some sets seemed to attract tragedy like magnets, claiming lives and destroying careers with supernatural consistency. By the end of this investigation, you'll question whether some stories were simply too cursed to tell. Rebel Without a Cause, 1955. Little did Hollywood know, Rebel Without a Cause, released in 1955, would launch a legacy of loss dubbed the Teen Tragedy Triangle. Director Nicholas Ray, a visionary at 44, shaped a raw tale of teenage rebellion, casting James Dean, 24, Sal Mineo, 16, and Natalie Wood, 17, to ignite the screen. On set, Dean's daring rattled everyone. Studio memos from Warner Brothers in 1955 detail his high-speed stunts in a borrowed car, nearly clipping a grip. A minor fire erupted during a night shoot, scorching a barn set and spooking the crew, as reported in a Los Angeles Times brief that year. Tensions flared as Ray pushed long hours, fraying nerves. Then tragedy struck off-screen. Dean crashed his Porsche on September 30th, 1955, dying at 24. Sal Mineo met a violent end in 1976, stabbed at 37 outside his apartment. Natalie Wood drowned in 1981 at 43, her boating mishap still unsolved. Fans whisper of a jinx tying these young stars. Did a dark force doom them, or was their reckless spark too bright to last? The Conqueror, 1956. Records later proved The Conqueror, a 1956 epic, battled a foe no sword could slay: radiation. Producer Howard Hughes, 50, and director Dick Powell, 51, chose a sweeping desert near St. George, Utah, to stage Genghis Khan's conquests, starring John Wayne, 49, and Susan Hayward, 38. Filming rolled from June to August 1954, unaware the site sat downwind of nuclear tests at Nevada's Proving Grounds, active since 1951. Dust storms whipped through, coating the cast, as a 1954 crew log noted. By 1980, a staggering 91 of 220 cast and crew faced cancer, per a People magazine study. Wayne battled lung cancer, dying in 1979 at 72. Hayward succumbed to brain cancer in 1975 at 57. Powell passed from lymphoma in 1963 at 58. Agnes Moorehead, a supporting actress, also fell to uterine cancer in 1974 at 73. Scientists mapped a fallout cloud drifting over the site, linking it to the toll. Did an atomic curse claim this company, or was this a grim price of the nuclear age? Ben-Hur, 1959. Witnesses recalled Ben-Hur's 1959 production as a coliseum of chaos, where daring stunts fueled its epic sweep. Director William Wyler, 57, demanded grit for MGM's biblical blockbuster, casting Charlton Heston, 35, as Judah Ben-Hur. The chariot race, filmed in Rome's Cinecittà Studios, churned danger. Stuntman Joe Canut, 22, son of legend Yakima Canut, flipped a rig at 30 miles per hour, fracturing his chin and ribs, per a 1959 Variety clip. A stunt rider died after a horse trampled him, noted in a studio report, while others sprained wrists and gashed legs. Yakima, 63, the second unit director, narrowly escaped when his steel-reinforced rein held during a wild gallop. Filming spanned 10 months in 1958, with 15,000 extras braving heat and dust. Heston logged grueling days, hauling props to build muscle. Did a curse tilt these odds, or did ambition gallop beyond control? Poltergeist, 1982. Little did Hollywood know, Poltergeist, released in 1982 at the tail of the classic era, sparked rumors too wild to dismiss. Producer Steven Spielberg, 35, and director Tobe Hooper, 39, conjured a suburban ghost tale starring JoBeth Williams, 33, and young Heather O'Rourke, 6. Whispers flew about real skeletons used in a muddy pool scene, fueling a 1982 crew buzz. Night shoots stretched 12 hours, fraying tempers per MGM logs, while a faulty light rig flickered, unnerving all. Tragedy hit hard. Actress Dominique Dunne, 22, met a tragic end in 1982, strangled by an ex outside her home. Heather O'Rourke fell ill during a 1987 sequel, passing at 12 in 1988 from a bowel obstruction. Williams slipped in mud, bruising a knee, and felt a chill beyond the script. Was a spectral hand stirring this pot, or did eerie chance haunt this set? Twilight Zone, the movie, 1983. Records later proved Twilight Zone, the movie, a 1983 anthology, bore a burden no script could bear. Director John Landis, 32, helmed a tense segment, blending helicopters and fireworks near Santa Clarita, California. On July 23, 1982, at 2:20 a.m., a chopper plummeted, killing actor Vic Morrow, 53, and child stars Micah Din Lay, 7, and Renee Chen, 6, per a 1983 Los Angeles Times account. Landis pushed stunts, ignoring wind gusts, noted a safety memo. The crash sheared Morrow and crushed the children, halting production. A 1984 trial probed negligence, spurring new safety laws for film sets, adopted industry-wide by 1985. Crew wept as debris burned, and Warner Brothers reeled. Did a curse shatter this night, or did bold risks reap this toll? The Ten Commandments, 1923. Little did Hollywood know, Cecil B. DeMille's 1923 silent epic, The Ten Commandments, battled chaos beneath its biblical grandeur. Director DeMille, 42, marshaled 2,500 extras across Guadalupe Dunes, California, erecting a 120-foot Pharaoh's Gate. A 1923 Los Angeles Examiner note cites winds gusting to 40 miles per hour, toppling scaffolds and injuring 60 workers with cuts and sprains. Heat soared to 105 degrees, felling dozens daily with exhaustion, per studio diaries. Lead actor Theodore Roberts, 61, as Moses, collapsed from fatigue mid-shoot, revived by medics after a day. Carpenters raced to brace sets, and costumes choked in sand. Did a divine wrath lash this spectacle, or did scale outrun caution? The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938. Witnesses recalled Errol Flynn's 1938 triumph, The Adventures of Robin Hood, as a whirlwind of risk. Directors Michael Curtis, 49, and William Keighley, 48, staged sword clashes and archery for Warner Brothers, starring Flynn, 29. A stuntman crashed from a horse, crushing ribs, per a 1938 studio log, while Flynn twisted an ankle leaping from a tree, limping through weeks of takes. A stray arrow sparked a fire, singeing a Sherwood set, noted a 1938 Hollywood Reporter brief. Extras sweated in heavy tunics, and a bowman gashed his hand on a prop. Flynn's charm clashed with Curtis's yells, fraying the mood. Was a forest hex stalking them, or did daring deeds court this strife? The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Records later proved The Wizard of Oz, a 1939 gem, danced through peril behind its magic. Director Victor Fleming, 50, raced a 6-month shoot for MGM, starring Judy Garland, 16, as Dorothy. A 1939 memo logs Buddy Ebsen, 31, the first Tin Man, cut by a stiff aluminum costume, replaced by Jack Haley, 40. A pyrotechnic flash burned Margaret Hamilton, 36, the Wicked Witch, blistering her hand and face for weeks, per studio files. Garland sang through 14-hour days, tiring fast, while a flying monkey rig jammed, bruising a stuntman. Munchkin actors tripped in tight shoes, straining ankles. Did Oz weave a spell of woe, or was haste the true mischief? Moby Dick, 1956. Little did Hollywood know, Moby Dick, a 1956 saga, chased disaster as fiercely as its whale. Director John Huston, 49, filmed off Wales, casting Gregory Peck, 40, as Captain Ahab. A mock whale broke free in 20-foot waves, nearly drowning Peck, per a 1956 Life magazine note. Crew slipped on wet decks, fracturing 3 arms and a leg. Logged by Warner Brothers storms sank harpoon props, stalling chutes for 17 days in 1955, while cold-soaked costumes chilling all. Houston battled fog, stretching 90 days of filming. Did a nautical curse hunt this crew, or did the sea defy their quest? Frankenstein, 1931. Records later proved Frankenstein, unleashed in 1931, stitched danger into its legacy. Director James Whale, 42, cast Boris Karloff, 43, as the monster for Universal, piling on 50-pound boots and makeup. Karloff's back strained under the load, per a 1931 memo, while a spark from a voltaic rig scorched a set, halting a day. Grips stumbled on dim stages, bruising shins and knees, and fog machines choked lungs, noted a crew log. Karloff pressed on, lifting slabs through pain. Did a monster's curse prowl here, or was mishap the real spark? Gone with the Wind, 1939. Little did Hollywood know, Gone with the Wind, a 1939 epic, burned through trials. Director Victor Fleming, 50, led 2,000 extras for Selznick, starring Clark Gable, 38, as Rhett. A stunt rider broke an arm in a horse chase, per a 1939 Variety clip, while fire scenes singed extras' hair, scorching 5. Gable clashed with producer David O. Selznick, 37, stalling shoots, and a 1939 log notes dust choking the cast. Flames leapt high, testing courage daily. Did a southern hex blaze through, or did scale fan this fire? The General, 1926. Witnesses recalled Buster Keaton's 1926 silent gem, The General, as a locomotive of risk. Keaton, 30, directed and starred for United Artists, leaping onto trains rolling at 15 miles per hour. He bruised ribs diving for a shot, per a 1926 log, while a derailment bent tracks, delaying filming 10 days. A stuntman twisted a knee slipping off a car, noted a news brief, and rain-soaked gear, rusting props. Keaton's gags defied gravity, thrilling crews. Did a curse chug this train, or did his daring steer the storm? Singin' in the Rain, 1952. Records later proved Singin' in the Rain, a 1952 delight, splashed through struggle. Director Gene Kelly, 39, starred and choreographed for MGM, Dancing in Water Tanks. He caught a fever at 102 degrees, bedridden for days, per a 1952 memo, while a cameraman, 34, toppled on a slick stage, spraining a wrist. Soggy sets warped floors, stalling takes, and rain pumps jammed noted studio files. Kelly twirled on, drenched and weary. Was a downpour of doom at play, or did wet feet test grit? Dracula, 1931. Little did Hollywood know, Dracula, released in 1931, crept through shadows of strife, director Todd Browning. 50 cast Bela Lugosi. 48 for Universal, draping him in 20-pound capes. Lugosi tripped often, twisting an ankle per a 1931 log while a bat prop misfired, scratching a grip's arm. Fog machines choked the crew, clogging throats, and a 1931 note cites a light tipping, jarring all. Lugosi bared fangs through strain. Did a vampire's curse bite deep, or was missed the true mischance? Across decades, classic Hollywood's most cursed sets reveal a pattern of peril. Ambition clashing with unseen forces. From 91 cancer cases on The Conqueror to sudden tragedies of Rebel Without a Cause, these tales teach us that glory tempts fate. What lingers in these haunted frames? A true curse or mankind's bold missteps? Share your theories below and subscribe for more hidden histories. The Omen, 1976. Though technically post-classic era, this production epitomized the cursed film phenomenon that had haunted Hollywood for decades. Gregory Peck and producer Harvey Bernhard both survived separate plane crashes while traveling to the filming location. Lightning struck the plane carrying Peck to London, while Bernhard's aircraft was hit during a flight over the United States. The film's special effects coordinator was killed in a car accident in Holland, exactly as depicted in one of the movie's death scenes. His car was sliced in half by a truck, matching the fictional demise of a character in the film. Rottweilers hired for the movie attacked their trainers, requiring multiple hospital visits. Hotel fires, animal attacks, and equipment malfunctions plagued the production with mathematical precision that defied explanation. The Crow, 1994. Little did anyone anticipate that this dark superhero film would become synonymous with Hollywood's most publicized on-set death. Brandon Lee, son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, was killed when a prop gun misfired during filming. The dummy bullet lodged in the gun's barrel was propelled by the blank cartridge with lethal force, striking Lee in the abdomen. The accident occurred during Lee's final scene, adding tragic irony to his character's resurrection storyline. Production was halted for 2 months, with the remaining scenes completed using digital effects and body doubles. Lee was 28 years old, the same age his father Bruce Lee was when he died under mysterious circumstances 20 years earlier. The film's dark themes and gothic atmosphere seemed to mirror the real-life tragedy that overshadowed its eventual release. Superman, 1978. The Man of Steel's curse began during pre-production and haunted the franchise for decades. Christopher Reeve, who embodied the iconic character, suffered a catastrophic riding accident in 1995 that left him paralyzed from the neck down. He died in 2004 from complications related to his condition. Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, struggled with bipolar disorder and made headlines in 1996 when she was found living in bushes after a mental health crisis. She died in 2018 from what was ruled a self-inflicted incident. Richard Pryor, who appeared in Superman 3, developed multiple sclerosis shortly after filming and died in 2005. The financial disasters of later Superman films seem to echo the personal tragedies that befell the original cast members. Rosemary's Baby, 1968. Little did Roman Polanski know that directing this supernatural thriller would precede the most horrific tragedy of his personal life. Producer William Castle received thousands of threatening letters from religious groups, many containing death threats and warnings about divine retribution. Castle himself suffered severe kidney problems during production and was hospitalized multiple times. Composer Krzysztof Komeda fell into a coma after a fall and died 4 months after the film's release. Most tragically, Polanski's pregnant wife Sharon Tate was murdered by the Manson family in 1969, just 1 year after the film's success. The brutal killings seem to mirror the movie's themes of occult violence and paranoia. The film's exploration of satanic themes appeared to invite real-world darkness into the lives of those involved in its creation. Macbeth, 1971. Witnesses recalled that Polanski's second cursed production continued the director's pattern of attracting supernatural misfortune. This adaptation of Shakespeare's famously unlucky play encountered numerous accidents and setbacks during filming in England and Wales. Several crew members suffered injuries from sword-fighting sequences that seemed unusually brutal even by period film standards. The production's obsession with realistic violence reflected Polanski's psychological state following his wife's murder 2 years earlier. Cast members reported an atmosphere of genuine menace during filming that extended beyond normal method acting techniques. Weather conditions consistently disrupted outdoor shoots, forcing expensive delays and reshoots. The film's commercial failures seem to confirm that some stories carry curses that transcend individual productions. The Exorcist, 1973. Records later proved that 9 deaths occurred among cast and crew members during this supernatural horror production. A mysterious fire destroyed most of the interior sets, delaying filming for 6 weeks and adding millions to the production budget. The blaze left only Regan's bedroom intact, the same room where the film's most disturbing scenes were shot. Ellen Burstyn suffered permanent spinal injury during a scene where she was yanked backward by hidden wires. Her scream of pain in the final film was genuine, not acted. Several actors, including Jason Miller and Vasiliki Maliaros, died shortly after production wrapped. Jack McGowran died from the flu during post-production. Strange malfunctions plagued the set consistently, including cameras stopping without explanation and lights exploding during crucial scenes. Cleopatra, 1963. Records later proved that this epic production became synonymous with Hollywood excess and personal destruction. Elizabeth Taylor nearly died from pneumonia during filming in London, requiring an emergency tracheotomy that left a permanent scar on her throat. Production was halted for months while she recovered, adding millions to the already astronomical budget. The infamous affair between Taylor and Richard Burton destroyed both of their marriages and created international scandal. Their tumultuous relationship would dominate tabloid headlines for decades and contribute to Taylor's ongoing struggles with alcohol and prescription drugs. Rex Harrison, who played Julius Caesar, suffered a heart attack shortly after filming concluded. The production's financial disaster nearly bankrupted 20th Century Fox and marked the end of Hollywood's big-budget epic era. The African Queen, 1951. Little did Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn anticipate that their adventure romance would become a survival story behind the cameras. The entire cast and crew contracted dysentery while filming in Africa, except for Bogart and director John Huston, who reportedly avoided local water by consuming only whiskey. Hepburn was hospitalized multiple times during the 4-month African shoot. Several crew members required medical evacuation due to tropical diseases and infected wounds. The production's boats frequently broke down in crocodile-infested waters, creating genuine danger during filming. Local political tensions added another layer of risk, with armed guards required to protect the Hollywood visitors. The film's adventure story seemed to pale in comparison to the real-life hazards faced during its creation in the African wilderness. Giant, 1956. Witnesses recalled that this epic Texas drama was overshadowed by the tragic fate of its star. James Dean completed his final scenes just weeks before his fatal car crash, making Giant his posthumous farewell to cinema. The young actor's reckless behavior during filming foreshadowed his tragic end, with reports of dangerous driving between locations and conflicts with director George Stevens. Rock Hudson, secretly battling his homosexuality in an intolerant era, began the decades-long struggle with his identity that would eventually contribute to his AIDS-related death in 1985. Elizabeth Taylor, appearing in her second cursed production, continued the pattern of personal turmoil that seemed to follow her career. The film's themes of generational change and mortality seemed to predict the fates of its principal actors. Sunset Boulevard, 1950. Records later proved that this dark meditation on Hollywood's cruelty contained prophetic elements that played out in real life. Gloria Swanson's comeback performance as faded silent star Norma Desmond reflected her own career struggles. While her co-star William Holden would later die alone in his apartment, discovered days after a fatal fall that eerily mirrored his character's isolated death. Director Billy Wilder reportedly based Norma Desmond on several real silent film stars who had descended into madness after their careers ended. The film's exploration of Hollywood's disposal of aging performers proved tragically accurate for many who had worked in the industry's early decades. The movie's cynical view of show business seemed to curse those who brought its dark vision to life. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, 1948. Little did the cast and crew realize that their Mexican adventure would become a real-life treasure hunt for survival. Humphrey Bogart contracted dysentery again during location filming, beginning a pattern of illness that would plague his later career. Director John Huston's obsession with authentic locations led the production into genuinely dangerous territory. Several crew members were robbed at gunpoint during the remote location shoot, with bandits taking both personal belongings and film equipment. The harsh desert conditions caused multiple cases of heat exhaustion and dehydration among cast and crew. Walter Huston, the director's father, suffered a heart attack shortly after filming concluded and died within 2 years. The film's themes of greed and paranoia seemed to manifest in the real-world dangers faced during its creation. Roman Holiday, 1953. Witnesses recalled that this romantic comedy marked the beginning of personal tragedies for its stars, despite its fairy tale success. Audrey Hepburn's meteoric rise following her Oscar win was accompanied by intense pressure and perfectionism that contributed to lifelong struggles with anxiety and eating disorders. Her later miscarriages and health problems were attributed partly to the stress of sudden stardom. Gregory Peck, despite his professional success, battled depression throughout his career, losing his son Jonathan to what was ruled a self-inflicted incident in 1975. The actor's struggle with mental health remained largely hidden from the public during Hollywood's golden age. Director William Wyler suffered a hearing loss during World War II that worsened throughout his career. The film's celebration of spontaneous joy contrasted sharply with the private struggles of those who created it. East of Eden, 1955. Records later proved that James Dean's first major film role initiated the tragic pattern that would define his brief career. Dean's method of acting approach and conflicts with director Elia Kazan created tension on set that reflected his character's internal struggles. His dangerous motorcycle riding and reckless behavior during filming worried studio executives and insurance companies. Julie Harris, who played Abra, later spoke about the ominous atmosphere surrounding Dean during production. His intensity and apparent death wish seemed to permeate the entire filming experience. The biblical themes of the story, dealing with fratricide and family curses, appeared to mirror Dean's own troubled relationship with his father. The film's exploration of inherited sin and generational trauma to predict Dean's fate just months after its completion. The pattern emerges clearly when examining these cursed productions across Hollywood's golden age. Studio executives consistently prioritized spectacle over safety, creating conditions where tragedy became almost inevitable. The combination of dangerous stunts, hazardous materials, and intense psychological pressure created perfect storms for disaster. Whether supernatural forces were involved or simply statistical probability catching up with reckless filmmaking practices, these productions left scars on Hollywood that influenced safety regulations for generations. What other cursed film sets have you heard about? Subscribe for more hidden truths from cinema's dark side, and let us know in the comments which Hollywood mystery you'd like us to investigate next.